Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Finding Common Battlegrounds. It is March 28th. I'm actually giving a date today. We're recording this, and it is just Josh and myself tonight. Tom is not here, but this is the podcast where we try and engage in civil conversations between the left and the right. The goal, of course, is to find common ground. Quick, before we get much deeper into this, shout out to our sponsor, Lux Bidets. Josh, anything you want to say about Lux Bidets?
Oh, I love a good bidet. You're not clean until you're clean, if you know what I mean.
I was just traveling like 2 weeks ago out of the country in a place where I would think they would have bidets. And man, I missed my bidet. Really, really missed my two Lux bidets. I've got one on each toilet. Okay, so we have a couple topics we want to cover tonight, but before we get to them, Josh and I were discussing this before the show, and Tom has been a little cagey with where he is. He's been traveling a lot recently, so we just decided we're going to do a little speculating tonight and guess where we think Tom is. And our listeners, if you want to join the game, feel free to post in the comments on YouTube or send us an email where you think Tom is traveling, because he hasn't told us, but he's been gone.
Nope. We asked, right?
Yeah,
Ryan asked in our message yesterday. We've been trying to get some podcasts, but Tom was traveling and Ryan was traveling, and we've been busy. And Ryan asked him yesterday, "Hey, where are you going?" And it was just crickets. It was a little cagey, a little suspect.
So, Josh, where is Tom?
I would bet a large sum of money that he's in Ukraine fighting the Russians. I'm pretty sure he's going back and forth. I think he has taken up for Zelensky, and he is just addicted to that rush of shooting Russians. I'm pretty sure that's what he's doing.
Okay. So
what do you think?
My guess is not quite as exotic as yours. I'm going to go with he has joined Elon Musk's DOGE team. I think he grabbed a laptop.
A little more realistic.
He's got like a black hat, black like jacket or something, and he's the one sneaking into those buildings at night, right? And kind of trying to tear apart the federal government.
I could totally see that. I could totally see Tom could get off on that. Yeah. I like that.
So if you have a guess on where Tom is traveling, feel free to drop it in the comments on YouTube or somewhere else, or email us.
So he might be in DC. He might be in Ukraine shooting Russians. He might be smuggling cocaine in his butt to somewhere.
I think I did suggest that. Tom, are you a drug mule now? Because he was not telling us. So
maybe.
And maybe,
yeah,
maybe we can eventually get Tom to tell us where he's been for the last couple of weeks.
Maybe. Wow. Maybe he's been recruited by the CIA and he's assassinating enemies of the state.
That's a possibility too. Like everything is open. There is we have no idea.
Maybe, man, my mind's running wild now. Maybe that lawyer for the Biden's DOJ or whoever that they just found dead.
Oh, that was Tom.
That might have been Tom.
He has like the perfect cover,
right?
Yeah. I mean, the number of dates this guy goes on and where he lives, like
that's a lot of dates. So anyway,
all right. Why don't you give us our first topic?
Ryan mentioned we're the civil podcast, or we try to be civil, and I like unleashing on Ryan because I think it's more fun when we have more of a lively debate. I'm going to really try to rein it in tonight because that's like Tom's main function. 98% of what he does is keeping me civil, and like 1% Ryan civil, and then he adds whatever. But the first thing I want to talk about was the attacks on Tesla. For the last, I don't know, 3 weeks, 3 weeks.
That, yeah.
The left has decided that Elon Musk is number 2 enemy in the crosshairs behind Orange Badman, and they think that if they just start blowing up Teslas, that's going to get him to stop. Or like, I don't understand what they think is going to happen. He's already the richest man on the planet. So he's like bankrupting his company. Like, yeah, that would be inconvenient for him, but he has a bunch of companies and billions of dollars. Like, I think he'll be okay. Like, of anybody on the planet to take a financial hit, by definition, he's going to come out ahead of everybody because he already has the most money. Like, I don't understand anything about what they're doing. And the other aspect of that is most Tesla owners, as far as I can tell, are liberals because when Tesla really hit the scene at the, at the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
it was all about Elon is our hero because he's all about the environment and carbon footprint and fossil fuels. He's great. Let's all buy a Tesla. And that's a liberal cause. So most liberal or not most Tesla owners are liberals. Like I cannot wrap my mind around this. I'll let you chime in here, but Ryan posted on Facebook. I hope you're okay with me
Yeah,
reading
yeah,
this
yeah.
out.
I'm public about it.
Okay, you explain what you posted because it blows my mind. It blows my
So
mind.
bizarre.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So a couple of weeks ago, I got an email out of the blue from he claimed to be a reporter. It was a weird website that I looked it up and I was like, this is a little weird. And he's like, hey, I'm reaching out from this, website or whatever. It's not like a major newspaper and it's based in Tennessee, right? And I was like, that's just weird. But he said, I'd like to know if you're willing to go on the record about having been doxxed as part of this anti-Tesla campaign. And I was like, I was super confused. I had no idea what he was talking about. He wasn't very clear about it, right? It was really kind of confusing. So I started looking stuff up and I eventually figured out what the website was, right? So somebody set up a website. The name of the website is DogeQuest, but that's not the URL, right? I'm not going to give out the URL. We're not trying to give them traffic, but it was called DogeQuest. And basically what they had done is they had somehow, probably scraped some websites and got the locations of all Tesla dealerships and all Tesla chargers. But then somehow they'd also gotten a list. It's obviously a very small list and it's not an accurate list of some Tesla owners. And they had posted all of that on a map on some, bizarre website. And when you go to that website, your icon, your little like mouse cursor thing, it turns into a Molotov cocktail. And you
So
can scroll
ridiculous.
around the map and you can find the, Tesla dealerships, the chargers, and some people. So when I got it and eventually found it, I was looking for myself. I'm not going to hide the fact that I live in Tampa. I work at the University of Tampa, right? Like, again, I'm not respect.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing I say is the views of the University of Tampa, but that's where I work. I'm not going to hide that, right? So I was
Nothing you say
scrolling
is
all
so
over.
controversial that you should
Right.
have to hide it. It's
I shouldn't
nuts.
have to. So I scrolled all over Tampa, and there were like 5 or 6 Tesla owners listed in Tampa, but I was not one of them. So I'm like, I am super confused. And the website that the guy had emailed me from was a bit sketchy. So I just kind of dismissed it and didn't answer. And I actually do talk to reporters all the time. So, like, I'm fine talking to reporters, but this was not about my work. It was about being doxxed. So I was just confused. And then, like, 3 days later, I got another email. And this one was, Josh, you have to like be eating this stuff up because it's
It's
amazing.
just it's
Yeah,
despicable.
I know.
But yeah, continue.
So this email is a woman who says, hey, my husband and I teach self-defense classes for how to use a gun in self-defense. And we're offering our services to all of the people in Tennessee who got doxxed as part of this Doge Quest website. And I was like, okay, like I clearly I must have gotten doxxed somewhere, but I couldn't find myself in Tampa. And that's what gave me the hint of like, maybe they put my contact information in Tennessee. So I did go back to the same website and I'm scrolling all over Tennessee. And I eventually found in like the southeastern corner of Tennessee, which newsflash, I don't live in the southeastern corner of
Have you ever
Tennessee.
even been there?
I don't think so. I mean, I've been to
Sheesh.
Tennessee a couple of times, but I don't think I've ever been there. They had misspelled my name. They did have my email address, but they had the wrong address, the wrong phone number. So hooray, I'm not fully doxxed. And then they did have my link to my Twitter/X account, but that's defunct. I got rid of it. So they had like 2 pieces correct and 3 pieces of my information incorrect. But I did, in fact, get quasi doxxed. because I own a Tesla, right?
It's
And
insane.
as Josh said, I paid for and ordered my Tesla in 2017. I took ownership of it in 2018. Um, Elon Musk has always been a weird guy. That's fine, right? But at the time, I bought my Tesla because I'm environmentally conscious and I'm an early adopter of technology. That's still true today. That
And
hasn't
they're
changed.
awesome.
And
They're
they
really
are
cool
amazing
cars.
cars. I love my Tesla. I absolutely love it. Do I like what Elon Musk is doing? No, right? Like but that's a separate issue. And I think we can lead this down the conversation of like, how do you manage these kinds of things? So there are interesting topics
Well,
there, but that
we'll
actually
touch on
happened
that.
to me. Yeah. So this is like, it just played out over the last few weeks. I got quasi doxxed because I own a Tesla.
Which is, I'm thrilled because I guarantee there's probably some liberal nut job in Tampa, and if you were one of 5 people, there's a good chance something could have happened because
Mhm.
there are firebombing people. I just saw a video today of this obese guy. I think he was in Florida on like this mini four-wheeler, and he was just ramming it into every Tesla he could find. Just like,
Serious?
what? And I saw a video of another guy. He walks up to a Tesla and reaches into his pants, poops in his own hand, and spears it on the Tesla. And he does this like 3 or 4 times. Like the incompetent malice on display is staggering. The incompetent
Wow.
malice of the far left. Okay. Because as Ryan said, they tried to dox him. They couldn't even do it correctly. But that's just malice.
Well, don't
They're
taunt him, Josh. I don't want him to do it correctly.
well, I'm just saying how incompetent this whole thing
Yeah, it's
is.
pretty incompetent.
Like they couldn't dox Ryan correctly, but that's a malicious thing to do to a complete stranger. They don't know
Yeah.
Ryan's quite liberal.
Mm-mm.
I would consider Ryan a champion of the left, and they're trying to take their pedantic ire out on him. Oh my
Yeah.
good night, you people are pathetic. And the guy pooping in his hand and wiping it on a Tesla. Who are you really damaging, brother? You're now on the internet for all time and eternity, pooping in your own hand.
That's pretty
Did you
nasty. I mean,
did you really
kind of
hurt the
impressive at
Tesla
some
owner?
level, but like pretty nasty.
Like
Yeah.
Ryan, could you in a public space poop in your own hand?
No, no, that's a straight no. That would never happen.
Kind
That
of,
would
you're right.
never happen.
Kind of incredible. And this guy looked. I mean, if you see the video, you would actually think, yeah, this guy looks like somebody who could poop in his own hand on command. Like
That's super
it's
bizarre.
the whole
I
thing's
don't
so
know.
bizarre. And
Yeah.
the the thing that makes me so mad, I saw another video last week. This lady was up in Seattle. Ryan, just
Hmm.
by demographics, do you think she's going to be liberal or conservative?
Statistically, she's going to be pretty far to the left.
Yeah, very liberal lady driving her Tesla. She gets run off the road by some lunatic. And he runs her off the road, parks in front of her, gets out of the car, and starts threatening her, starts screaming at her, threatening her life. He doesn't know her. He just saw she was in a Tesla, right? This is insanity. And if it was 1 or 2 people, okay, that's kind of humorous. There's hundreds of these attacks, and the really scary thing here is you have people like Tim Walz, who was the liberal presidential or vice presidential candidate last year. He's on stage talking to people, uh, cheering this on. So there's several Democratic leaders cheering this behavior on. That is so disturbing to me on so many levels. And I've seen the comparison drawn. Ryan mentioned this. What's a proper way to deal with this? What's a proper way to deal with Elon if you don't like what he's doing? And and I and
Yeah.
and I well, okay, go ahead, and then
So,
I'll come back to that.
and I don't know the specifics on Tim Waltz, right? I would hope, and this would be my approach, and this is my approach, right? Right now, we're not in the market for a car, so I'm just going to be clear about that. But if we were, we probably wouldn't buy a Tesla because of this. But am I going to turn around and attack random Tesla owners because of this? Absolutely not. So
That's what's happening.
I can boycott some of his companies if I really feel strongly about this. But I think this is going to lead, hopefully, to the issue that Debbie and I have been having about this. She's straight up said, like, I will never buy a Tesla at this point. I'm like, well, I wouldn't say never. Like, we don't know what's going to happen. Maybe Elon Musk will step down from the company. Who knows, right? Like, complicated. But I think that's the right approach, is to just say, like, okay, I'm not going to hurt any of the existing owners because they're literally me, right? Like, most of them are me. They're left-leaning progressives who are environmentally conscious, who bought an electric car because it's a cool electric car.
Even if they're not, let's assume most of them are conservative.
Sure.
It's still insane.
Yeah.
It's still insane to just target random people and go, how dare you own that car? Like, even if they're dyed-in-the-wool Trump supporters, it's still insane to firebomb somebody's car. This is, I know the left is pushing back against this, but this is domestic terrorism. You're firebombing buildings because you don't like what the president's policies are. Like, that's bizarre. I've seen the comparison drawn, and Ryan just said it because Ryan's not insane. If you don't like the way somebody is acting in public, and they're a business owner, you can boycott their company, right? Was it Coors Light or one of the beer companies?
Yeah,
they hired that
Bud Light.
They hired Dylan Mulvaney, that really weird person that I really dislike. That person. Women don't act like that, and that's a whole separate issue. What did the right do? We said, okay, we're not going to buy your beer. That's your spokesperson. They
boycotted Bud Light. Yeah,
cool. We're going to boycott you. They didn't start blowing up breweries. Like, there's a difference here. Nobody on the right, not even the really weird fringe that we try to distance ourselves from, not even they started committing violence or domestic terrorism when they didn't agree with what a company was doing, right? So there is a difference, and it's really disturbing.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I'm pretty sure Kid Rock did, like, shoot some Bud Lights. I know.
Cool.
That's the closest that I can come to. Josh.
Okay.
I'm trying. So, part of the conversation that Debbie and I have been having about this, and I don't mean to bring her in, she doesn't really like it when I do that, but because of a lot of stuff that's going on and this whole kind of boycott Tesla thing, it raises this really weird, tricky issue of, like, okay, if I tried to boycott every single company that had a conservative owner or CEO, what could I actually buy?
Well, there's stuff, but yeah, that would.
Right.
But is that the level
Home
of
Depot's out. Home Depot's out. Target's out.
Lowe's.
Walmart's out.
Target had very liberal policies for a long time. Do they have?
They don't anymore, right? And so it's shifted. Publix, our major grocery store where we shop, they would be out, right? Most gas stations, which conveniently I don't need to go to gas stations right now, right? But
thank you, Elon.
Just start naming, like, all of the different companies that have conservative CEOs or owners. Mm-hmm. If you're going to try and boycott all of them, which, like, props to you, pick a group. And if it's like, I really don't like this person for these specific reasons, then, like, you do you. That's fine. I'm not going to. Anybody can do whatever they want. But the second you start down this path, like, all of the things that you would have to rule out just become kind of monumentally enormous. Mm-hmm. So now you're like, oh, I can't buy this computer part because of this CEO of this company over there. I can't do this. I can't do that. Like, I get it. And again, if that's really what you want to try and spend your time on, but it seems like maybe we could find better ways to spend our.
I think it's worse than that. I think it's highly problematic if we start looking at people that disagree with us politically as the enemy. Mm-hmm. Now the level of bifurcation is. This is why we start having violence, because this I assume is the mindset of the people on the left that are firebombing Teslas, right? They're viewing the people on the right as the enemy instead of somebody that they just disagree with on a couple issues. Okay. That is a really problematic mindset to get into. And that's, and you probably disagree with me. I know we've talked about it before. That's why Elon bought Twitter, because there was such a divide, and we decided we're just not going to talk to the other side because we're the enemy. And that's what has happened on Facebook. I have 2 people on Facebook that haven't unfriended me. I haven't unfriended anybody on Facebook. I have 2 people that haven't unfriended me that are liberal. All the other liberals, I don't even post on Facebook. I haven't posted for years. I'll comment on people's things, right? I commented on Ryan's post about Tesla,
Yeah.
and this is Ryan and I. I like to take digs at him. He likes to take digs at me. And my post was, "Why are you still liberal? These people are crazy." And I mentioned the liberal leaders. A lot of the liberal leaders are supporting this. This is bad. And as a rule, I never comment or talk to anybody, any of Ryan's friends that post or anything, or any of his colleagues. I don't want to get in a fight with any of them. They're Ryan's friends. They're Ryan's colleagues. I don't want to put a bad taste in their mouth. But
he totally did this time.
No. If they come after me, okay, gloves are off. And usually I'll just be like, pipe down, idiot. I don't want to talk to you. But the first guy that came at me, he couldn't even speak English. And I kind of pointed that out, and he deleted everything. I made him run away screaming. And then another guy came at me, and I'll publicly apologize. I don't remember the guy's name or anything. I don't know.
Will Tyson. He's a professor at the University of South Florida. He's a good guy. He's a good guy.
Well, you didn't need to bring him into it. Yeah, you didn't need to out him.
Shout out to Will Tyson. I actually like him. He's a good guy.
So. Okay, Will, I'm sure you're a great guy. He made a really bad argument. Like, the argument he made was really, really bad. And I was just perplexed that was even an argument he would make. And I took it a little too far. I kind of started to mock him a little bit. And immediately after I posted, I was like, I took it too far. And I apologized, because I don't believe that we should treat people that we disagree with like that. Even if the argument is really, really bad, it doesn't call for incivility. Okay. And that's I will being hypocritical, because I responded too forcefully, even though my rule is I don't pick the fights. But if the fights come to me, and Ryan and I just discussed this before the podcast, of people that have picked fights with both of us in the last couple of days, I don't pick fights. We both go out of our way. Like, we were raised the same way. We were raised to be nice to people and give people the benefit of the doubt. But if people want to pick a fight and be jerks, okay, I'll tangle, right? I'll tangle.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to back down.
Gloves will come off.
The gloves will come off. But when that's the default mode now, be based off politics, holy crap, we got a problem here. And that appears to be what's happening. That's the default mode. We're not going to support any conservative businesses, and Elon's the devil, and we're going to burn his business to the ground. And here's the funny thing. The other liberal on Facebook that's not Ryan, that I interface with occasionally, he posted like 2 weeks ago, in the future, business or economics classes are going to talk about the fall of Tesla. And I was laughing, like, Tesla's doing just fine. Like, they're
not doing as fine.
Their stock's down, but more people. Ryan might not buy a Tesla because of what's going on. I'm definitely going to buy a Tesla because of what's going on. So the demographic of who owns Teslas is going to shift. That's all that's going to happen.
It might. I did read an interesting article about that, and they're a bit skeptical that conservatives can actually be won over, in part because conservatives in the House and Senate right now are talking about removing the tax benefits, like the tax breaks that you get. When I bought my Tesla, I got a $7,500 tax write-off because I bought it. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can offset the people protesting against them. But it's not just the US. The Tesla sales are down in almost every country around the world. Some countries by more than 50%. And it's straight up because of what Elon Musk is doing. So
okay, let me ask you that.
Stock's going to be in trouble.
What is he doing that's so terrible?
Are we changing topics? Or is it still related?
No, this is related. I don't understand. Like, on his own dime, he's trying to get rid of government corruption.
Well, what is he doing that's so
terrible?
Corruption. I mean, I would prefer government waste instead of corruption, but okay.
Fine, that's not accurate because there's clearly a lot of corruption, but fine. He's trying to get rid of government waste. Why is this so terrible? I've never been happier with what's happening in the government.
because of the way he's doing it, right? We've had this conversation. I don't know that we need to rehash it. It would make far more sense to me to go in with a scalpel than with a sledgehammer. And
So the corrupt
he's
people
made
can
a
hide their corruption.
no, I mean, come
That's
on.
what would happen.
He's
But that's
but
what would
Josh,
happen.
he's made a bunch of really stupid mistakes. He fired a
Sure.
bunch of nuclear scientists and it was like, oh crap, they're the ones who actually manage our bombs. And they had to
Sure.
try and rehire him, but they can't find him because they cut them all off from their email access and their computers. Like, that's just the dumbest thing that I've ever heard, right? Like,
Sure.
hey, the people in charge of our nuclear arsenal, we're going to fire them all. Oh crap, it's our nuclear arsenal, right? And it's not like he's done that once. He's also lied many times about how much money they've saved. Like, it's been a shit show. Like, that's just true, right? And could he have done this with a
Uh,
scalpel and said
True. I
like,
don't.
okay, look, here's the idea. Over the next 4 years, we want to cut the funding that the government is spending out and the number of people who work for the government by X million number of people. And we're going to do this way very carefully by figuring out, hey, these are jobs that we actually probably don't need. This job's redundant. We can cut this. And over the course of, 6 months, he cuts 5,000 jobs,
Okay, and
right?
I get it. I
And he
get the
slowly does that. And by the end of 4 years, he's cut as many jobs, but it hasn't been cataclysmic to the federal government.
sure. I get the argument for a more conservative approach versus his liberal approach, where he's just smashing everything. Weird that the liberals don't like it when people are liberal.
I don't know that that's like a liberal leg that we stand on.
That
Smash
was
everything, burn it to the ground.
it. Kind of is defund the
uh,
police.
January
Get rid
6th.
get rid of all the police. We don't need any
We
police.
can throw both ways there.
That's
So
that's you have one that's been hashed and hashed and hashed. I can do
I
this for an
know.
hour.
I know.
Um, again, I get your argument. I get that you would prefer a more cautious, conservative approach. I disagree. I don't think it would work because the way he's doing it is he's just rooting out all the cancer, and there have been plenty of mistakes made. Absolutely, they've made mistakes. They've haven't got
Thank you
everything
for
right.
admitting that. I actually genuinely appreciate you admitting that. It
Well,
seems
it's
like a lot
obvious.
of conservatives just don't want to admit that there have been
No, it's
mistakes.
obvious they've made mistakes, but that's part and parcel with that approach. The shotgun blast, where you're like, okay, this is a problem. We're going to get rid of everything that it seems like we're going to get rid of quickly, and then we'll move on to the next thing, and then we'll come back and reevaluate and see if we, see what we have to fix. Like, but that is the approach that makes sense to me. Um, so what? Again, I don't understand. Just because you agree with what he's doing in principle, and you agree ultimately with what he is accomplishing, you just don't like how fast he's doing it and how reckless it
Mm.
is.
No,
Okay.
and that's not exactly it, right? So let me throw out a couple of other things, right? I'll give you two examples where I think I actually disagree with these specific cuts. Okay.
Oh, that's fine. We don't
No,
have
no,
to
no,
get into the
and I
minutia of
don't mean
that.
like one person. I mean the United States, right, as a country, has one of the best educational systems in the world. We have more students come to the United States for graduate education than any other country on the planet. It's because our universities are top notch, right? We have really, really good universities in the United States. And this isn't me necessarily trying to defend universities. It's actually what's happening at those universities. And that's frontline, pure scientific research. Um, One of the things that gives us our edge economically, so if you just want to make it an economic argument, is our technological advances. We are like super technologically advanced. And a lot of that research is done using federal money at universities. It's not done in corporations. Some is, and I'll give them their due, but a lot of that pure research where we don't know if this is going to have meaningful application, but we're just trying it, right? And then turns out when we figure it out, we're like, oh, actually, well, this can totally be monetized, and people monetize it all the time. So massive advances happen all the time in our universities. And Elon Musk and Trump have cut billions of dollars out of that system. Okay. Now, I
Okay,
can totally
let
get
me
behind cutting lots of things. Why would we cut the thing that makes us as cutting edge as we are.
I'll give
That
you
like it
I'll give
seems
you two
really
reasons,
counterproductive to me.
because I'm going to disagree with you on that one, like completely. Um, when the government just starts throwing money at things, and people aren't competing as they are in the capitalist sphere in the workplace, and I get there's some competition among universities
Oh,
and professors, but
it's cutthroat.
when you're just getting money thrown at you, um, and this isn't even the biggest reason. Um, I think that private, and you referenced this, private businesses are also innovating and creating technology. I think they're going to do a better job. I think they'll do it more efficiently than anything that's subsidized by the government. The other issue, and we've talked about this before, and you disagreed with me, I think part of the reason why um, it's so expensive to go to college now is because of the subsidies that they get from the government. Okay, when you have all of this money coming in, and this is the same problem we have with healthcare, when you just have money rolling in from this vast well over here, you no longer have to cater to this middle class kid over here who doesn't have who it, we've talked ad nauseum about college debt
Right.
and how out of control it is.
Let's skip
I
that conversation.
well, no,
I want to focus on the science here.
I believe these grants and all these subsidies that the government's giving colleges, that's part of why uh, this the it's so expensive to go to school. Okay. And the third thing, I know I said two, there's actually three. I have seen some of the headlines for some of these grants that have been cut, some of the research projects that have been cut.
That's
Some
called
of them are
clickbait, Josh.
completely
Sure.
wackadoo.
Okay.
Okay.
But
There
that's a
could be
tiny sliver. Come on.
maybe not. You said
No.
yourself, we don't know if there's application,
Yeah.
actual physical application for some of these research studies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sure.
I get it, and I get your argument, but there obviously could be better oversight on the money that we're throwing at universities, because some of these, and you can call them clickbait titles, but these were actual grants being handed
Mm-hmm.
out for studying transgender mice or something stupid like that. Like, come on.
Yeah, I heard Elon Musk say, and this is on Joe Rogan's podcast, that they spent like $6 billion creating transgender mice. That's bullshit. Like that's been debunked. That never happened,
Okay,
right? Like
okay,
that's
fine.
ridiculous.
But there are
But
clearly
just to
some of these things that are silly, and we shouldn't be spending
sure,
money on
but
them.
that's always going to be the case, right? I also like Debbie will lose her mind when she hears this when you say this is not a competitive process.
Well,
Uh,
I'm sure they're competing against each
currently,
other.
right? Yeah. When you apply for a grant, you have about a 10% chance of getting funded. So think about that, right? It's not like you've got a 100% chance or even a 50% chance of your grant getting funded. You've got a 10% chance of your grant getting funded from the federal government. And some of them, it's even lower than that. So it's not like this is a walk in the park. People are struggling really, really hard to get these grants. And it's a lot of
Okay,
competition. It's a very, very
I
competitive process to
I have
get
a
the
simple
grant
fix
money.
for that. No more grants. Federal government shouldn't be doing this. Okay, I saw the funniest headline today.
You're undermining all of our educational
I
system
don't
and our scientific
I
advances in
don't
the
care.
United States.
The federal
Why would you
government
not want this? Why do you not want the
state
United States to
if
be
you want
technologically advanced?
if geez, if you want state governments to have a bigger role in that, fine. I don't think this is not the role of the federal government. I don't see it that way. I saw the
But
funniest video
okay, we'll
today.
come back.
We can come back. It said the best argument ever for DOGE is watching, oh crap, Jon Stewart lose his mind at the inefficiency of the federal government because Joe Biden appropriated like $60 billion or something to expand internet coverage in the United States, and it hasn't gone to a single. They haven't expanded it to a single home yet. And you should just watch the video. And the guy is kind of making a joke, but the video is hilarious. One guy is explaining to Jon Stewart what this government process is and all of the bureaucracy and red tape, and they have to do like millions of dollars of planning meetings, and then they go up some steps, and then there's back to preliminary planning meetings. Like step 8 was preliminary planning, and it's like, what? The video is about 5 minutes long, and it's hilarious. And by the end, Jon Stewart's losing his mind, and it's so funny because for 10 years on his show, every day he's calling for bigger government, and then somebody actually walks him through the inefficiencies of the bureaucracy, and he's furious about it. Okay, that's
Sure.
my problem with this whole system, and that's why I'm thrilled with Elon. And I just can't understand why people are so mad. Because yes, you have a couple areas that you don't like that he's cutting. Okay, if I went through with a fine tooth comb, I could probably find stuff that I don't like he's cutting. But the fact that he's cutting it in my mind, because the bloat of the government is so bad, and we haven't, the government's been spending more money that's been taking in for 100 years. Okay, I keep repeating that point. I would rather blow it all up and then just start from scratch rather than take your scalpel approach, because I just don't think it would work. It would take decades to get rid of anything even appreciable. But Elon will be out in 4 years, right? So blow it up
Do,
while we can. That's
do
my
keep
thought.
in mind, everything that he's cut is a drop in the bucket at this point.
Yeah, but we have to start somewhere. Like,
Well,
do
you,
we do
you
we just
literally just said like we can't do that, right? It doesn't make any sense. The point that I wanted to come back to is a lot of our scientific research does actually end up getting applied for the military. And I'm pretty sure you've said on here multiple times that one of the functions of the federal government is the
sure?
military. So why
I'm
would we
glad you
want
were
to
listening.
cut? Why would we want to cut one of the key things that makes our military cutting edge?
Okay, so the grants should just be for laser and guided missile
Really? That's
grants.
what we're
Yes.
gonna exclusively for that. Come
No,
on, Josh.
I get your
I
point.
think you see where I'm going here,
I
right? Like
and
it
I
doesn't make any
and to a
sense.
degree, I absolutely agree with you. I'm not. I love scientific progress. I'm not like,
A
uh,
Luddite?
yeah, like I'm not Amish here. I'm on a Zoom call. I like scientific progress, and that should be one of the things that we push for. But the way we're going about it now is insane. So let's blow it all up and then reassess and go, okay, is this university actually pursuing something useful? Okay, maybe. But see, and I still don't agree,
Well,
because
but
I
you
really do.
can't ever predict in advance what's going to be useful and
I
what's
I
not.
get it. I totally get it. That's why it's complicated. But my approach is, like, where's the money coming from that we're funding this with? Your children, your child is
I
paying
get it.
for your wife's research grants. We don't have the money for it. So
Okay, but again, all of this stuff is a drop in the bucket. If you really wanted to cut back on government
I know
spending, what would you
entitlements.
have to hit?
You have to hit
What
the
would you have to
entitlements,
hit? And they're not touching it because they know they're done. The second they touch
which
Social
which is a
Security,
problem.
they're done.
Which
Well,
is a
there are
problem.
other solutions, right? They're just refusing to pursue those solutions. And instead, they're trying to find ways to cut things so they can give tax breaks to people, right?
And I don't, and again,
It
I don't
doesn't make
love.
any sense.
We
They
don't
also,
necessarily need the like the $5,000 check, whatever. That stuff's kind of dumb. I
yeah,
agree. They're
right?
politicking. They're playing the game. But at
They
least,
totally are.
well,
Um,
what do you expect?
well, the other thing that I think is kind of shocking, and I just saw the numbers today, uh, an estimate, it's always going to be an estimate, but if your company is struggling to pay its bills, um, does it make any sense to cut the accounts payable department? Come
Uh,
on, Josh. You know the answer to this. There is
well,
one
if
logical answer to this.
if you have too many people in accounts payable, I just flashed to that episode of The Office where they're trying to um, they have to fire somebody in the office, and so they have the three accountants go through all the books, and the only one of them's competent. One of them's completely incompetent, and the other one's kind of a psycho. And he goes, "Well, there is one department where we have three people doing the job of two people." And they all look at each other. I go, "Oh,
Oh, oops.
yeah, okay."
Which I could
That
get,
that's where
right?
my brain flashed to,
Which is
and I
funny, and
and
I
I
do
think
appreciate the
and
humor.
I think that's what they're trying to do, because
I get.
they didn't just destroy USAID, right? They cut it down from thousands of people to 300 people. Um,
You really
I,
think the IRS could function with 300 people to actually get everybody to pay their taxes?
I think
We're a country of 330
we should redo the
million
tax
people.
code. We should redo the tax code.
Okay,
It's
but
such
until
a
we do
mess.
that,
Agreed.
all we've done is make it so lots of people are not going to pay their taxes. And we can't audit them because we don't have the staff to do that.
Cool. I don't care.
The estimate that I just saw is that may have cost us, the cuts that they're planning for the IRS may cost us $500 billion a year.
The accounting department is losing just misappropriating $500 billion a year.
No,
Okay.
that's a different department. That's not the IRS, right? That's the
Okay,
people who are paying the bills.
But that's why I'm fine with it. Okay, you have people just losing $500 billion, and it's obviously going somewhere, going to their friends, it's going to liberal PACs and stuff, right? So
I love that that's the assumption, but that's fine.
no, that's what
All right.
Elon said. Somebody
Okay,
asked
we
him in
are
an
way
interview.
off of Tesla at this
We
point.
are, but
We
somebody
are
asked
way
Elon
off of
in an
Tesla.
interview, why do they hate you? Why are they doing this? And he said, it turns out when people are stealing money and you find it and you call them on it, they get really mad. And about 95%, I think is the number he used, of the misappropriated funds we're finding is being funneled into liberal PACs. The other 5% is into conservative PACs. But those are the numbers he threw out.
Yeah, I don't know that I trust a lot of what he says these days. He's
Of course you
a lot
don't.
of numbers.
Of course you don't. Okay, you're right. We're way off.
We
Should
are.
people be firebombing Teslas, Ryan?
No.
Why
Done.
are you still liberal?
There are a lot of liberals who are not firebombing Teslas that are still driving their Teslas, right?
But they're
Yeah.
will you at least admit that the right, at least current day, the right doesn't react with violence to people that we disagree with if we don't like a company. And you're immediately January 6th.
I didn't have to. You said it for me. Thank you.
So silly.
Yeah, of course. Right now, they're not attacking anybody because they're the ones in power and they're loving this.
Oh my gosh. Without saying January 6th, when have we ever resorted to violence in the last 20 years? Name one time.
Those are always awkward questions because you're trying to put somebody on the spot, and I hate it when people do that. But I do that occasionally to you too.
Then I
won't
put you on the spot,
yeah.
but it's true.
Not exactly.
The way the far left is behaving is incredibly alarming, and everybody should be alarmed by it. And I don't see your party calling it out. Tim Walz was not. He's cheering it on.
AOC did he cheer on the violence, or did he cheer on protesting against Tesla? Because if he's cheering on the violence,
the same thing right now. It's the same thing right now.
I mean, if you said don't buy Teslas, I'd be like, okay, don't buy Tesla.
That's not what he said. Right? It was right.
I don't know what he said.
Firebombings. Right. He was giving a speech, and he said, "I love that people are taking it to Tesla," or something like that. You could look it up. But he's not saying don't firebomb Teslas, just don't buy them. If he said that, okay, fine. That's a measured response. It's not what he said. That's not what people are saying. So when you have liberal leaders cheering it on, it's wrong. It's very wrong. It's disturbing. Okay, we've hashed that. Moving on.
Yeah.
We're going to have dead air.
I'm just trying to see. I know. Sorry. I was trying to see the actual quote, and the website's not very good. All right. Let's move on to our second topic. And I don't have a major point on this one, but it's all over the news, right? I was listening to a podcast today where they started with this, and they're like, it totally broke the internet, right? Yeah. This is the Signal chat that one of the editors from the Atlantic, it's the Atlantic, yes? The Atlantic. Yes, the Atlantic. He was included on I'm just going to say it.
Secret phone call.
A classified chat message thing where they were laying out the plans for bombing the Houthis in Yemen, right? Yep. I think, if people haven't heard about this, like they're living in a bubble, there's plenty of stuff that you can read about this. The only thing that I really want to say about this, right? I mean, I've got a secondary, more minor point, but my primary point is the hypocrisy here is really stunning. And I'm hoping you can agree with me on this one. The efforts to crucify Hillary Clinton for her email server were pretty extensive. And in fact, they have Pete Hegseth and Kash Patel 6 months ago, just 6 months ago, still talking about Hillary Clinton's email server and that it wasn't secure. This was a violation of protocol. She never should have been allowed to do this. She should have been prosecuted for it. And then we have this Signal leak, right? where they literally invited a reporter in. They're discussing classified information. I don't think there's any question that it was classified. They're discussing classified information. And they're like, oh, this is totally fine. It's not a big deal. We're just going to say it's not classified and no one should be prosecuted for this. So the only thing that I really want to say, again, I've got a secondary point, but the only thing I want to say is, isn't that a bit hypocritical?
By both sides is the problem.
Yes, 100%. I'm totally saying 100%.
Okay, as long as we make that
this is
clear,
super hypocritical.
Because when the Hillary Clinton thing came out, do I think she was like, because with her email server, the CIA reported that they're pretty sure that foreign countries were on it. Like they were reading her stuff. They're pretty sure that happened. Was this treason or was this incompetence on her part?
Probably incompetence.
Probably incompetence, right? She was probably just doing something really stupid she shouldn't be doing. Okay, I'll concede to that. She was divulging a whole bunch of classified emails to all of our enemies. That's not good. Okay. And yeah, the right probably rightfully went after her and nothing happened. James Comey of the FBI said, we're not going to prosecute her for screwing up top secret clearance stuff. Okay. That kind of set a precedence because then what did they go after Trump for? He had classified documents at Mar-a-Lago. And the left tried to this is insane levels of hypocrisy on the left right here.
It's fine.
Okay. They tried to go after Trump and they tried to impeach him over it or whatever they did, right?
Not impeach him, prosecute him. He was already out of office.
Thank you. They tried to prosecute him for it. And then what happened to Biden? They caught him with a whole bunch of classified documents. They said he's
an old well-meaning guy who's got a bad memory.
Bunch of classified
and I'm
documents.
Owning that. That's totally true.
Sitting in his
very
garage.
Yes.
Yeah. And they go, oh, he's just too befuddled to know what he was doing. Okay.
Which was true.
What? Yeah, probably true, right?
Yep.
And now you have the new administration, and they did a top secret chat, and one of the idiots, and I saw a possible explanation for it. One of the guys has the initials of GB, and the reporter has the initials of GB. So like a dunce, they didn't double check this, and they put the reporter in.
It was a mistake. There was nothing malicious about it. It was a mistake, and it was stupid.
Okay,
and they never should have been on Signal.
No, probably not. And
no, there's no probably.
Well,
the government has secure ways to communicate.
I know Signal is encrypted. I've heard, but I don't know anything about it.
It's not government approved, and there are ways
probably
that they actually have to do this. It was very stupid.
Probably pretty stupid.
Yep.
The reporter, I'm gonna crucify him and give him kudos. I don't know anything about the guy. When he reported everything that he saw in the chat, he did redact like the really super classified stuff. Props there. Thank you for not being a complete douchebag. Why, when you knew this was happening, like the first couple of chats, why not go, hey guys, you sure I should be here? Instead, he stayed there for days.
He did, and I actually
for days.
I hate to. Well, no, I listened to a podcast where he was on, and he didn't defend it. What he said is, I'm the editor-in-chief at The Atlantic. I thought for sure this was a honeypot. I thought some foreign government had put me into this, thinking that I would take the bait and that I would be susceptible to whatever it is they were doing. So he said, when I first got added, I completely ignored it because I was like, whatever, this is not a real thing. And then it popped back up several days later, and he was like, this seems a little bit like maybe there's something here. And it wasn't until
the bomb started
we have to trust what he was saying. When the bomb started falling and he got confirmation, he was like, holy shit, I'm actually in the real thing.
Yes.
And then 6 hours later, he pulled himself out after consulting with attorneys because he said, I don't want to be subjected to having violated classified documents, right? Once he figured out that it was real and consulted with an attorney, he pulled himself out. Right. So I actually think he did the right thing by being skeptical, but like, man, this can't be real. And then he was like, oh my gosh, it's real. I'm out because I don't want to be prosecuted for this.
If that's accurate, Cool.
That's straight from his mouth.
Yes, and I heard the same thing. I didn't hear that it was 6 hours after the bombs flew. I heard him say
It was within the same day.
He knew when the bombs flew that it was real, but I don't know. I was listening to a podcast where they read the whole transcript.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty obvious that it was real, but I don't know that much about it. So fine, I'll reserve judgment on that guy. It was a mistake. They screwed up, but now you have, and Ryan said there's hypocrisy here. Now it's hypocrisy on the left because they're okay with Joe and Hillary getting a free pass, and now they want Hegseth's head on a plate. And I've actually heard speculation that Trump might want his head on the plate because he really hates bad press. And this is a black guy against the administration. And as much as Ryan hates to admit it, when just this morning when I said, "What are we talking about?" Here's a bunch of topics. You want to talk about the signal leak, right? Because there's nothing else for the left to talk about because the right's been owning them. So, but I will 100% admit it.
Poke.
Hypocrisy, yes. A big
That's
mistake.
really all I wanted to say.
Yes. End of the world? No. Like some of the
bombs had already fallen.
Some of the clickbaity headlines on the left. Thousands of people could have been at risk because of this security breach. This is the worst thing ever. Crucify these. Like, come on, guys. Like, I read the transcript. There was, unless the Atlantic guy was withholding way more than I think he was withholding.
No.
Nobody was in danger. It's not like if the Houthis would have known we were coming, they were still going to fight back.
Well, they could have shot at the planes, right? Because these were manned planes, right? So I think
have the
his
technology
point,
to shoot down our jets. Sorry,
they might. His point was more than anything, right? Like this was classified information, and it was probably incompetence. If not incompetence, just neglect and negligence, right?
Agreed.
They should not be on this. They should not be on the Signal app. It's not considered secure. I know that like other places use this, and it is the most secure that you can get for the public, right?
Yeah.
Our government has more secure communications.
I should hope so.
It's just they're more difficult to use, right?
So
you have to be in secure locations to do this. I hope so too.
And I'll even extend the olive branch further. I've liked Hegseth so far. I didn't know much about him. I liked what I've seen him do. His response to this was pretty dumb. Where he was terrible. Where he would just attack the Atlantic. That's a very Trump-esque response. Instead of just saying,
I screwed up.
All he would have had to do is say, guys, we clicked the wrong button. We screwed up. Lesson learned. This wasn't secure enough. We're going to fix it. I promise we'll fix it.
I would have been fine with that response.
Blows over in a day. So his response to it was pretty dumb. The Atlantic's a joke. Like, come on.
Yeah, he's a scummy journalist, blah, blah, blah. He just attacked the media. Yeah. He attacked the media, and I am not okay with that, right? I would be fine with Pete Hegseth.
I'm okay with him. I'm okay with him attacking the Atlantic and attacking the media, just not in response to getting caught with his hand in the cookie. Well, I mean, it wasn't malicious. Well, his hand wasn't in the cookie jar. It was just he got caught with his pants down.
Yeah, he was doing something really stupid, and the media held him to it, right? Yeah. And the correct, I think we totally agree. The correct response was, I totally screwed up. I never should have done this. My bad. I learned a lesson. Instead, he attacked. And that to me is just like, I think it speaks volumes about Pete Hegseth and where he actually is, right? He's not owning his mistakes.
I don't love it. I'll 100% agree with you there. Was it as bad as the media is making it out to be? No. Was Hegseth's response good? No. Was it the big deal? Not really.
Well,
is there a lot of hypocrisy?
It is a bit of a big deal. It only in the sense, well, because nothing bad actually came of it, right? Yeah. But the fact that they're using Signal and they screwed up on this one, they shouldn't be using Signal. Is the first thing.
Agreed.
They should not be doing.
But it's not like we were about to attack Iran and they linked in Al Jazeera,
right?
Yeah,
which I get, and I'm conceding that, right? But here's I think the scariest part about this is I haven't really heard the administration say, we learned our lesson, we will not use Signal again.
Agreed. And that's okay. I've been thrilled with what Trump's doing and his policies and what Elon's doing. That is one of the things that I've always hated about Trump. He doesn't admit when he's wrong. And that that drives me nuts. That's just that's the narcissism. That's why I was so hard to get on board with Trump. I love his policies. His foreign policy, I mean, we could go into the tariffs and stuff, but his first term, his foreign policy was great. But good night. There's no humility there. Humility is a pretty important principle. I think we should talk about religion now. Let's talk about humility, right?
I think we're done, is what we are.
I think so. That was actually
we should
pretty
probably
good.
go back to speculating where Tom is.
I had the exact same thought. Like, seriously, 15 seconds ago, I was like, all right, I gotta come up with something else. Where's Tom? Let's finish this strong.
Tom was on one of those ships that helped launch the planes against the Houthis.
Possibly.
That's where he was. That's my latest guess. That's where Tom was.
He was on Elon's spaceship that rescued the astronauts.
Oh, that's not bad. Maybe that's where he was.
Can I just reference that real quick? That's been driving me nuts. The left hates Elon so bad that they didn't recognize, oh, he just saved 2 stranded astronauts. How cool is that? And he offered to do that to Biden, and Biden said, no, I don't want your help. And Trump's like, yeah, take care of it. And like within a couple of weeks, he's like, yeah, he's just saved these 2 astronauts. And nobody on the left is giving him props. And that story got frickin' buried. Instead, we're hearing about it
it's a little more complicated than that version, but
not that much more complicated.
SpaceX is doing a really good job with shuttling astronauts to the International Space Station. I don't think you can really argue that.
Well, that's kind of my argument in a nutshell. I think that private companies can do all of this stuff that the government's doing better. That's why I like that Elon's doing it. I understand there's problems and it hasn't been perfect, but it never was going to be.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but yeah, I think he probably had Tom up on one of these spaceships.
Tom was in space.
Yeah, I think so.
I love that. Tom's going to just have to come back on the podcast, and he's going to have to reveal where he was.
Hope so.
Actually, you know what I really hope he does is he just plays into this with us, that he's like, yeah, I actually was there.
He's got a helmet on next time. Or a SpaceX patch on his jumper.
That would be awesome.
So shout out to some of our listeners. Shout out to TJ. He was like mad because we hadn't dropped a podcast in a while.
Is that who did this? Yeah. And I do feel bad. I mean, we've been talking about it. It's just been
we've been trying,
yeah,
but Ryan was gone and Tom was gone, and I'm about to get busy. But we've just preliminarily discussed this. We might try to bring on we've had Jake, our nephew, on as a moderator in the past. He did a great job, but then he went off to law school. He has expressed some interest in maybe stepping in when Tom's not around to help moderate, so we can be a little more regular on dropping episodes for you guys, because I really wanted to talk about the whole Trump and Zelensky thing, and now if I talked about it now, everybody would be like, old news, loser, get out of here. So I'd like to try to be a little more regular, but thanks for you guys for being anxious that we haven't
We'll get back to it. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. And we'll see you soon.
Hasta la vista.
Josh, we may not always agree when it comes to politics, even though we're trying, but there is one thing we agree on. There is only one way to clean up after going to the bathroom, and that's with a Lux bidet.
I've been a proud owner of a Lux bidet for years. I have literally owned a Lux Neo 320 since 2013. That's the warm water model. Talk about happy, fun, poopy time. When I leave the bathroom, I know I'm clean and ready to talk politics in a civilized manner.
Exactly. Using a toilet without a bidet is about as uncivilized as it gets. Civil conversations demand civil hygiene practices.
And that is why our listeners should get themselves a Lux bidet.
And just to be clear, Lux is not supporting one side or the other in this podcast. They support civil conversations and clean butts.
Listeners can get their own Lux bidet with 10% off by ordering at luxbidet.com and using our promo code FCBG10, Finding Common Battlegrounds 10.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Finding Common Battlegrounds. The music is by Ben Sound. The views expressed in this podcast are those of the participants and not those of their employers. For more information or more episodes, you can find us at findingcommonbattlegrounds.com.